What's up, my ninjas? Today is Friday, April 3rd, 2020, and this is your Tech Minute. Or not. So today is really special. Every Friday I'm going to be doing a special kind of video for Tech Minute or Not, and today we're going to be covering the top 3 RPGs of all time. This is clearly an opinion-based video, so please, try to come from my perspective, try to see from my perspective the things that I'm saying, and I respect everyone's decision. Everyone's going to have a different top 3. But these are definitely the 3 RPGs that left a lasting impression for me, and I am a big lover of RPGs. I've played so many. And why don't you join in? Let's just jump right in. Yes, the old days. Yes, I remember when the RPGs were of a different breed, no? Today it's all this big, this big roaming world, this free roaming. No, but for real though, it feels like every RPG today is trying to have the GTA playbook. Wide open scale worlds, you can do whatever you want. And look, I'm a big fan of that, but what happened to the story? I feel that when American game developers became more prominent in the development community, they put more emphasis on things like how much open world can I give a game, rather than how tight is the story, how interesting is the story. To be honest with you, I find the new RPGs quite boring. Some of the stories are just, JRPGs just have a special place in my heart. I feel like they have this new way of storytelling. So for me, when I want to choose the best RPGs ever created, the first thing that has to be front and center is a really tight story that draws me in from the beginning and keeps me there until the end. Now it is a JRPG, so the ending is probably gonna have your head scratching. But with that said, it's not a coincidence that my top 3 RPGs are all JRPGs. Let's truly get into the top 3 RPGs. First things first, at number 3, we're gonna say hello to Grandia, baby. Grandia. I don't know if you guys remember, but Grandia was a very little known game at the time in the late 90s for the PlayStation. This is after the Final Fantasies and after I think Sony can say that they definitely had a grip on the US and Japanese markets. I believe this was after Breath of Fire 3, which I will put on an honorably mentioned list. But after Breath of Fire 3, it felt like the 2D JRPG genre can go anywhere. So for Grandia, gameplay. I give that a solid 5 out of 5, an S++, if you will. The gameplay was very unique for its time. In fact, arguably the best out of all 3 games that I'm about to mention. The gameplay was turn-based, obviously, because it was a JRPG in the 90s. What else could it be? But the turn-based was really active. I think this was, I just recently picked it up again to remind myself how the gameplay worked. And I mean, there was some really interesting, innovative stuff back then. The story was pretty unique. So basically you follow a character named Justin, and he's going on an adventure that eventually leads to his father. What I distinctively remember about the story being interesting is that this was one of the most effective usage of a time skip. My lasting impression is definitely here. This game does it. I give it a solid 4 out of 5. It, even as the years gone by, it's been the better part of 2 decades that I've fully played the game. I've only played bits and pieces of it, but I distinctively remember that combat system and the music. There's no wonder it got a part 2 and a part 3 on the PS2, and I will definitely check those games out as well. But Grandia 1 is definitely the creme de la creme of that whole franchise. Next on the list, Final Fantasy, baby. But guess which one? That's right, 7. Not 6. What you gonna do, huh? Fight me. So everyone once says that Final Fantasy VI is the best Final Fantasy. And I'm not going to argue. I think there's a great argument to be made why Final Fantasy VI in particular is better than 7 or perhaps 10. But what I've realized is that the Final Fantasy franchise makes such tight games with each iteration. Whenever you're introduced to the franchise, that's usually the game that you feel is the best one because you don't give the other ones a chance per se. But when I look at it, and Final Fantasy VII is not an exception for me. It's the first Final Fantasy that I played fully through, and maybe I am biased because it was my first Final Fantasy that I ever experienced. However, I do have 13 million other people supporting this claim. It's the highest Final Fantasy ever sold worldwide with about 10 to 13 million copies all over the different systems. So I feel like that's a good indication that maybe people that say Final Fantasy VII is the best of the series may be onto something. There's just something about it that draws people in. Several towns, big and small, and each town felt different. There were multitudes of mini games to be played. Who can forget the Don Corneol's subsection? It was that the story changed, right? It started in Midgar. Then it changed, then it opened up Midgar when you thought Midgar was the whole story, and it went completely 180. Instead of bioterrorism, it turned into saving the world from some ancient prophecy. This type of gameplay and storytelling is why I play video games. It's the same reason why I think Predator 1 is such a great movie. Come on, how can you not love that battle theme? And I mean, it grows on you because it's played so much. I'm really excited for your remake, can you tell? The overall lasting impression, 5 out of 5, without a doubt. Like I said before, Final Fantasy VII had it's the definition of maximum effort. You can feel what the developers tried to convey. Amazing experience. And even with its boring parts, the emo parts, I mean, this is stuff that was really polished. You can tell that they thought about it. And yeah, I'm excited to see what the sales of the remake looks like. I think it's going to be a really good time for Sony and for Squaresoft right now. It's my #1 RPG of all time. You probably know. Yeah, it's Chrono Trigger. You know it. If there's a top list of best RPGs and Chrono Trigger is not at #1 or #2, you should definitely reconsider that list. Chrono Trigger is a legendary game. It was first introduced on the Super Nintendo and by Squaresoft at the time. Are you seeing a trend here? Two of the best RPGs of all time, in my opinion, are by Square Enix or Squaresoft at the time. And yeah, I think they're really good at just making RPGs. They know what their fans want, and I think they know how to convey a story really well. The gameplay is really polished in the way that it's a turn-based, but only turn-based, and it does it really well. In Chrono Trigger, you have such a lovely cast of characters that can have a wide variety of different skills. I mean, you get a robot and a sword-swinging frog, for goodness sake. Everything that they do feels like their character. The gameplay is also very unique in that it plays with time travel. That is extremely hard to do. Even in today's terms, there hasn't been a strong effort in creating a truly expansive game that uses time travel. There's a good reason for that. It is really hard. You have to write so many different scenarios and you have to make it feel pretty organic. And the gameplay and story really integrates the time travel element in it very well. The story encompasses different branches of storytelling and dialogue throughout different characters, and you can actually do things out of order and it still feels very organic. The writers deserve a big reward for being able to pull something like this off, and it's definitely one of the strongest parts of the game. The graphics is your linear 2D sprites, but it is very well drawn. Akira Toriyama takes the mantle as lead artist. You may know this guy from Dragon Ball Z. That's why all of the characters look kind of Goku-ish. There hasn't been an RPG to this day that has made me feel like Chrono Trigger has made me feel. I love time travel stories. I can't express this enough. And the way that they pulled it off was really satisfying. The ending was satisfying. I mean, come on. I'm here making a top 3 video. Yeah, come on. What's going to motivate a lot of people to do that. Come on, think about it. Hey, that's my top 3 RPGs of all time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment and subscribe. And get to join me on Monday on Tech Minute or not. We're going to cover the major events of that day, and we're going to take a look at what happened over the weekend. So don't forget to come back on in. Until next time, guys, stay safe out there.